This, Erin? Okay. All right. So I brought in Chad to help just because since I'm recovering from the surgery, I tend to run out of some energy sometime. If you should decide to join our team, you'll learn I'm very energetic. I use my arms a lot. That hurts a little bit. And so I brought in reinforcements right here, and also Erin Booker, to help. And you never just know, there's some other amazing coaches on here that you just never know. We might call on them to share their story or whatnot. But I wanted to thank you guys for taking the time out of your night to spend it with us, to learn about something that has completely changed our lives. And honestly, it's a compliment if someone invited you here. It's not, I want you to take that off your shoulder. We're not here to manipulate you or trick you or anything like that. We're a family. We've been through a lot together. This team has supported me and loved me through 2 deployments. I birthed my third child, third child.
I had some involvement.
You did.
Very little, very short.
Yeah, all by myself. But it was with the love, the unconditional love of this team that I was able to make it through such a hard time. And so seriously, if they saw something in you, if they invited you here. And so I kind of I want you to take that off your shoulders and just kind of breathe easy a little bit. Know that this is a safe place for you just to learn whether this team can serve you in any way. It's a judgment-free place. It's a place where we love unconditionally. So if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask the question. There's no stupid questions, and we will do our best. If we don't know the answer, we will try to find the answer for you so that when you make a decision, whichever direction you decide to go, you're comfortable with it, and if you should decide it's a good fit, you're excited about it, and you have all the information you need to move forward with us. So just a little bit about us. Those of you that don't know us, this is my husband, Chad, and I'm Summer. And 7 years ago, Chad made me say yes. He told me it would be a good tax break. Let's be honest. He had read in a book that small business, an at-home business with little overhead, was the best way to, like, everybody should have one. He read it in a book, and I had resisted it, honestly, for a long time, and I had a lot of fears, and so for 4 months, the person that was sharing it with me, switch the view back here.
Okay,
we're all right, but you need to switch the view of who's showing up on the.
Can we do that?
Well, she has to make sure. Okay. Anyway, I'll change my view so that I can keep going. But for 4 months, I had a lot of fears. Fear of, we'll go into those a little bit more, but I had a lot of fears in my heart about this type of business. And so for 4 months, I told my coach no until Chad told me that my ego was getting in the way, is what he really said. And
without saying that. I said that a few years later.
Yeah. So, but even after I had taken that leap, so to speak, and really I was only one toe in. You know what I mean? Like, I was not the girl with both feet in. I was one toe in. And for a whole year, I did absolutely nothing because of the fears that I had that we're going to kind of talk about, that might be stirring up in your heart, that I want you to know are completely normal, when you have those fears. But it wasn't until I hit rock bottom. It was, I'll never forget it. It was the day that Chad deployed for the first time, and I was hugging him in the hangar. He was a jet pilot in the Marine Corps for 10 years. And I remember hugging him and not wanting to let go for fear that I would forget what he felt like, for fear that I'd forget what he smelled like, and worst case scenario, that I would never see him again. And during a time that everybody was telling me to be strong, we had a 4-year-old and a 10-month-old, I felt the weakest I had ever felt. And on that drive home with that 4-year-old in the back seat, and just hearing his sobs, felt I felt lost. I felt like the whole world sat on my shoulders, and I didn't know how we got here. Hear me out when I say this. We are so blessed to have families, military families that sacrifice so much for this amazing, exceptional country that we live in, a country that we literally can make a decision to start a business such as this and change the direction of our life. A country that we live in, where we have the freedom to live where we want and to have the beliefs that we want. It's exceptional. And there are families out there that give up a lot every single day of our life. You know, we just lost a jet pilot. You know, he was a Blue Angel, and he just the ultimate sacrifice. And so we are blessed. But I knew on the way home in my heart, I don't know if any of you guys have ever felt this. I don't know if I can do this for 20 years. I kept praying, is this really where I am supposed to be? And for 2 months, I started to go through the motions. I used to be that energetic girl, that like when my feet hit the floor, the devil was like, oh crap. Like, you guys know what I'm saying? Like, she's up. Like, you know what I mean? Like that type of like energy. And I became someone I didn't even recognize, kind of zombie-like, going through the motions every single day. And just doing what it is. I developed an is what it is attitude. And every day that I climbed into bed, to that cold bed without Chad there, I remember thinking that I can't do this. I don't know how I'm going to survive this. This can't be it, And every day that I went to balance the checkbook, we were in the red. It was like all of this, it felt like the weight of the world sat on my shoulders. And one day I walked downstairs to start a pot of coffee like I did every day, because our 10-month-old didn't sleep very well. And so I felt like I was just in complete exhaustion 24/7. So like I did every day, I walked down those stairs, and this quote that sat on my desk that I'd seen a million times, you guys, stopped me in my tracks. And it said, if you want something different, you have to do something different. And I'd seen it before, but the word that stuck out to me, you guys, was the word you. Like, not Chad, like for 2 months that in my head, I had cursed him and was angry with him, and that I was alone. And it wasn't my in-laws that needed to come rescue me, or my parents that needed to do something different. Summer needed to do something different. And it was at that moment, I feel like I was like slapped, on my head, like, wake up, like, I gave you this opportunity, like, and you're doing nothing with it. Your prayers have been answered, but it takes action. Your action, Summer. You have to do something different. And it's that moment that I decided to take this business, the same business that you're being presented to tonight, to take this business and to make it my own. Not to allow the fears, the misconceptions, the icky sales that I saw all over the place to get in my way of building something that could loosen the debt noose around our neck. We were $100,000 in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, always in the red. I was the girl that went to Target to get a shirt just to walk out the door and walk right back in. To return it. I had buyer's remorse that quickly, and it was like, I decided to take this business and to make it something that when my feet hit the floor in the morning, I was excited about it. And when I went to bed at night, I felt good about what I had done. See, the fears that had kept me from moving forward were the encounters that I had had, from these type of businesses. When we lived in Whidbey Island, Washington, there was a certain girl that every time she saw me in the commissary, which is the grocery store for the military, why can't they just call it the grocery store?
It's gonna be different.
So that every time she saw me, you guys, it was just like I was just a dollar sign to her. You know what I mean? Like she wanted to sell me something. She didn't know my name. She didn't know anything about my family. She didn't know what I was going through. She wanted to sell me something. And it got to the point where like I was ducking behind like end caps, trying to avoid. And that kept me in fear of doing anything with this business because I didn't want to be that mom. I didn't want to be that mom that when someone saw her walking up, me walking up to the playground with my kids, that they all scatter. Do you know what I mean? That they're ducking and trying to avoid me. I wanted to be the mom that people, like felt that I empowered them or encouraged them and loved them unconditionally. And I didn't know how to do that with the business when I had such bad examples of how other people were doing it. But it was at that second that I decided that where there's a will, there's a way. And I was determined to learn how to go into sales with heart. And so that was one thing that that this team works very hard on is really serving people and running a business that isn't self-centered around what we want to do, but how can we serve people out there that are hurting? Look around us, you guys, every single day. I mean, the obesity rate is going through the roof, and it's not for lack of caring.
It's for lack of knowledge.
Yeah. It's not for lack of knowledge because we are in the information age. I mean, you can Google anything, It is because people are hurting. And they just need someone to tell them you're wonderfully made, someone to care enough to ask questions, to listen to their story, and to breathe life and hope into them. And that's exactly what we decided to do with this business. And that's what we set out to do. And over the course of 7 years, while fitting it into the mom cracks, while Chad deployed over and over and over again in all his different detachments, while I worked really hard to keep my priorities in line so that I could be a mom, so that I could be present, so that I could, stay, present in my friends' lives and all kinds of stuff like that. We built a 7-figure business, a business that recently in the last year allowed Chad to comfortably walk away from the Marine Corps and start his own real estate investment firm. And that was over, a 7-year period. Now, when we first started building this, I mean, he wanted me to start this business because he wanted the tax benefits. Okay. Like right away, he was like, the tax benefits, Summer, like you have to sign up. That's a no-brainer. Like things become a write-off, and he tried to get it through my thick head on that. And I said, yes. But like I said, for a year, I did nothing. But then I started to get surrounded by people like this, people on this webinar, people that thought differently. You guys, I grew up in a household of anger, of resentment, of fighting, of that it is what it is, that living paycheck to paycheck, credit card after credit card after credit card, and hostility. So it was new to me to be surrounded by people that thought that breathed hope into me. And as I started to surround myself with people like that, I started to realize that I was in control of where I drove my business. The same way, if you should decide it's a good fit for you, you get to define what it is to you, what's important to you. And that's something that we work on. A man without a vision will perish. And that's exactly what I was doing. I had stopped dreaming. I had started accepting where we were, that credit cards were going to be the way of life, that struggling in a marriage becoming more and more distant because finances were stressing us out and distance was stressing us out, that's just how it was.
We were stuck in the rat race. So we were in a job that, quote, had a stable income. I don't know how stable it is, but it was just enough to make us, like, keep us kind of where we're at. And we were in that proverbial rat race that, that, hey, we gotta stay here because it's a stable job just to make money and to make ends meet. And, that's
I never saw you.
So it would have meant, that would have meant additional 10 years and God only knows how many deployments and things like that. So it was not an acceptable.
Yeah. So when I said, you know what, like, what if, or I started to hear stories, and I started to think, like, why not me? You hear some of the stories, and I thought, if I failed that girl, by 90%, like Chad had given me a goal, when I started dreaming again, when I got my fire back, when I started to have this fire ignite inside of me, and I started to tell Chad about it, and he kind of chuckled at me because he really just wanted the tax write-off, haha, you know what I mean? And I started to tell him, like, we could do this, and he said, Summer, you make six figures with that, and then I'll be comfortable with walking away. And he kind of chuckled at me, and I was like, I can do that. I can fail this other girl by 90%. She was 7-figure earner, and I was like, and she's awesome, and I'm not, and I don't have a six pack, and I'm really not that intelligent, and but I can fail her by 90% and meet my goal. And that was my mindset going into this, that if I lead with my heart, and I stay a sponge, and I learn how to not manipulate people, but love people and serve people and give that Nordstrom service that that makes people feel empowered and loved, and help to change their life, that and fail by 90%. Chad, I got that. And I got 6 years to do that. Oh, you know what I mean? Because his contract was 6 more years. You know what I mean? I was like, how many of you, if 6 years from now, we could slide you a recipe that if you followed it, if you were willing to fail forward, if you're like, okay, like, Summer, I'll be a sponge, and Summer, I can fail you by 90%. If I would slide that recipe over to you, how many of you guys in 6 years, and you had six figures with this business that was loving and serving people and something that you woke up excited about, how many of you would be like, okay, yep, 6 years, that's cool. That was my mindset. You know what I mean? That was my mindset. But I have to tell you, I had a lot of fears to get over. I hated sales. I saw icky sales. I saw what it looked like. I saw what it looked like on Facebook.
You hated a certain type of sales.
Well, that was yes, I did. I hated what sales had looked like.
Had been defined for you before.
Yes, about how I had been treated, and I refused to treat people as numbers or dollar signs. They're human beings. You guys are human beings with beating hearts, with wonderfully made, with a calling on your life. Like, you guys deserve to be treated that way. And so the way I had seen sales, I was just a number. I was a check on their list of a contact that they had to make, and that didn't sit well with me. So I had to overcome that, and I had to learn those skills, and that's something that our team teaches and helps people overcome. So that was the first fear that I had to overcome. The next fear I had to overcome was the fact that I didn't have a six pack. And Erin's going to talk about this in a second, but I didn't look like a fitness coach, you guys. Let me break this down for you. My entire life, I struggled with my weight. You wouldn't have looked from the outside. You would not have thought that, but I was called big boned my entire life. Every single day, I mean, life was so busy growing up. There was so much hostility. There was so much stress that, my breakfast was my mom was not a morning person, so she didn't want to get up any earlier than she had to. So breakfast was Pop-Tarts and toaster strudels and like waffles. Do you know what I'm saying? And lunch was a Lunchable or a frozen burrito, because we just didn't, there was just no time. And dinner was stressful, through the drive-through of Taco Bell or Pizza Hut or wherever we had a coupon. And I was not, quote unquote, blessed with genes to handle that. Now, my sister carried it very well. Teeny tiny, size 0. I didn't carry it well, and I didn't feel good, and I got labeled as big boned and masculine as a little girl, and it stuck with me to the point where it affected every area of my life. In high school, in my senior year, I became so obsessed with it that I played I was very athletic, played high school sports, and after practice I'd come home and I'd run 3 miles. I wouldn't eat. I would save my lunch money because I knew my parents were struggling, and I would just not eat. I would just pound myself in the gym, and in a last ditch effort, I took it right into our marriage. And I didn't like to be touched. I did chubby checks. It's when you pull your side, and Chad would be like, yep, Summer, it's still there. That's how I lived every single day. And it followed me into my adulthood. And in a last ditch effort to fix myself, I became a personal trainer. I thought something's wrong with me. I'm doing something wrong. I don't have the right knowledge. And so while I was pregnant with my first child, I studied and studied and studied, and I became a personal trainer. And then I started teaching group fitness classes, and I started to teach more because I wasn't losing any weight. I was a fraud. Like why would anybody want to work with you, Summer? You can't even figure yourself out. That was the tape that played over every single day in my head. So how the heck am I going to coach anybody if I cry in the closet every day when I get dressed, or if I cry and cringe when I shop for a bathing suit or jeans, and
jeans shopping. That was a fun time.
Yeah, it was the scale had me in such bondage, you guys, that it defined me. I didn't feel worthy or wonderfully made in the slightest. And it wasn't until from 7,000 miles away. Now, mind you guys, I had already said yes to coaching because Chad said it was a tax write-off, but I was doing nothing with it. And from 7,000 miles away, Chad and I would Skype and I would cry. I would say, I need to run another half marathon. Maybe I need to run the full marathon. I mean, I must be a slacker because I'm teaching all these boot camp classes and I'm running half marathons. What's wrong with me? And he looked at me and he said, Summer, remember that quote. If you want something different, you're going to have to do something different. And only from 7,000 miles away can Chad tell me something like that because I could not hurt him. But he was right. I am forever grateful that you had the courage to say that to me. It changed my entire life. I stopped teaching. I stopped running. I hung up my running shoes. Ask Liz. She probably remembers this. I dusted off the P90X workout that I didn't think I needed, that Chad had bought because I was a personal trainer. Like I was already failing. Like, really? Like I'm a personal trainer and I have to have someone else train me? And,
well, and 99.99%, 99, all the way as far as you can go out there of a transformation, whether it's fitness related, whether it's or whether it's like any kind of physical transformation or even a psychological or emotional one. It's all mindset. So that gave us her flipping the switch there, deciding to go all in with this thing, deciding to try.
Well, what did I have to lose?
It changed our conversations from here, like us to you. It totally flipped it overnight. It gave us something positive to focus on. It gave us people to be surrounded by that were positive.
Yeah.
It just changed.
Well, I had decided if I'm going to do this P90X thing, I mean, that was back in the days when workouts were an hour. Now they're like 22 minutes. But I was going to need some people to support. I wasn't strong enough, you guys. I finally had hit my rock bottom. Like the Summer Tucker, I got this, I don't need anybody, finally cracked. And I realized I couldn't do it by myself. And I surrounded myself. It became a group of 100 people that every day I checked in with. And at the end of those 90 days, when Chad stepped out of that jet when he came home from that first deployment, for the first time in my life, you guys, I felt worthy to be his wife. I felt worthy of anything. I felt confident and empowered. I don't even remember the number on the scale. It didn't matter. I think
you'd already thrown it out the door by then, I believe.
My confidence, everything about me changed, and it completely transformed our marriage. And so if that's a fear of yours, and I still, hold on a second, hold the phone. I still didn't have a six pack. Do you know what I mean? Like I followed it. I still didn't have a six pack because I don't believe in deprivation. I believe in moderation. I believe in progress over perfection. And so I did the best I could. for 90 days. Was I perfect? Absolutely not. But it was that process and that support. And like, instead of like, have you ever guys ever felt like this in life? Like you're like holding on like this, like you're just trying to control everything. And then if you would just go like this, you could receive. That's what happened 6 years ago. That's what happened. And that's when everything changed. So Erin Booker, can you share your story with everybody?
Sure. Sorry. I'm on someone else's computer because mine's not working. I think for me, my weight has been an issue for my entire life, pretty much, as long as I can remember. In fact, I am the smallest I'm smaller now than I was in high school, which is pretty awesome. Every time I get to a new weight, I'm like, woohoo, lowest weight as an adult. Yes. And I am certainly not what a coach is supposed to look like, or so I thought when I met Summer. And I think that for me, I was always embarrassed, and I've had a lot of trauma in my life, and I ate to protect myself and to keep people away from me. And my fat became my walls. And I think that over the last year and a half of being a coach, I've finally started to really do some awesome work to bring those walls down. But, you talk about being a yo-yo dieter. My parents have had me in weight loss programs since I was 10. Whether it was sending me to weight loss camps or having me on Weight Watchers or things that don't even exist anymore. I've been that girl. And my parents owned a pizza place. So we can just all kind of imagine what food looked like in our house. And I think for me, I do come from a house that wasn't so healthy as well. And keeping me stuck and trapped in this cycle of self-hatred kind of served some other people's needs. And I think that was a big part of my world. And so I've had to learn, and it's through this team that I've learned to change the messaging that I give myself. And I'm certainly not perfect. I certainly have to remind myself, we talk a lot on our team about positive affirmations. I have this little phone of mine reminds me 7 times a day of how amazing I am in all different ways. Because it goes off because I need to reprogram my thought process. And I think so for me, when Summer asked me if I would be a coach, and even a step before that, I met Summer on Facebook. So some people who are on our team have known her for years. They went to school together. They played sports together. I saw Summer posting about personal development on Facebook, and I think that I recognized that it was a need for me, that I needed to find a way to heal, because I was not the wife I wanted to be, and I was definitely not the mom that I wanted to be. And I knew that I had lost a bunch of weight. So, I talked about my weight was my walls. I was over 500 pounds at one point in my life. And in the last year and a half with Summer, I've lost almost another 100 pounds. Yay! But I think that I recognized that losing weight wasn't the answer. And that sounds crazy now, because I was like, if I just get to a size 8, I'll be so happy. If the scale just says this, I'll be so happy. And what I know now is that no pant size is going to make me happy. No number on a scale is going to make me happy. But what's going to make me happy is really growing in my faith in myself and my faith in having this community around us. So when when you asked me to be a coach, I literally remember the entire conversation in my head. It was like, this woman has lost her mind. She forget who I am. Has she seen a picture? I'm sending her a picture. Because a girl who's almost 300 pounds is not a coach. Like, that's just, what are you talking about? But what I have learned over the last year is that being a coach is about inspiring. Being a coach is about healing, helping people heal their hearts, while we heal ourselves and walk with them on the journey. And I think that that's so, so huge. So if you're sitting on this call thinking, you know, it sounds really cool, however, I have 50 pounds to lose, or I have 300 pounds to lose. You are amazing and perfect exactly where you are, and you will change someone's life because of your story. And I think that I had to learn that. Every time you smile at me, I get all like emotional. You're not allowed to look at me. I think that, you know, these guys are my family now. And I think that that's really huge. So when you come from a world where you don't feel supported and you don't feel surrounded with positivity and love, you step foot into one of our events with our team, and it's like a blanket of love just wraps around you. It's the most amazing experience you could ever have. And I think, you know, when I signed up to be a coach, I wanted the discount. I told Summer I was never coaching. I'm not doing this. I'm pretty successful in my career, and my family can be comfortable, and I'm good. And what I realized also along this journey, and that you talked about, Summer, is that I wasn't dreaming. I was like, oh, I made it. In the corporate world, I made it. I'm very high up in my job. I'm pretty young to be as high as I am. I got this. I'm awesome. And what I realized is that I don't have the freedom to do what I love the way I want to. So I think that that's another really important point. Health and fitness might not inspire you, but it can be the vehicle that gets you to your dream. So I have a dream to work with a certain group of people. I'm a therapist by trade. And I really love it, love it. But I want to do it on my terms with the people I want to help. And I want to help people who don't have money if they need it. So this gives me the opportunity to build a business where I totally can do that while my family is supported. My husband can follow his dream and not have to clock into a 9-to-5 job. And this really is a family affair. And I think that's important as well. I've been doing this a year and a half. My husband just started coming to events with me.
Lou for president.
Lou for president, baby.
Lou for president. I agree. Because then I get to be first lady.
Which you would make a great first lady.
That's funny.
But I think that, you know, when you start making a change, everything around you makes a change. And that's the truth. Like, so, you know, don't worry if you're afraid of being judged. Don't worry about where you are in your journey. The only question you want to ask yourself is, do I want to be surrounded by love and confidence building? Do I want to help people to heal? Do I want to be held accountable in my own journey? Because I can promise you this, that when I don't want to follow my program, I think about all of these amazing people who I have committed to following the program for. And just like today, when I wanted to eat some stuff that was in my parents' house that I should not be eating, I thought about my partner in crime and my push partner, and I thought, nope, I don't want to have to tell her I did that.
He has blame. Yeah.
So I think, you know, if that's what you're looking for, then this is a no-brainer. And, you know, I think that everyone always, the big question is, how much does it cost? And you know, Summer will talk far more about that. But what I want to say to you is that I would pay thousands of dollars, even if I wasn't making any money, just to feel how amazing this group can be and feel so much more confident. And even though I stumble at times, because I certainly do, I'm human, I always know that I have a group of people who are going to help lift me back up. So, you know, if the money thing is playing in your head, I want you to think about, you know, how much money do you spend eating junk that's not getting you towards your goal? Can you put that towards doing this amazing opportunity that Summer just said in 6 years, she got herself to a 7-figure income? I mean, Summer's amazing, but she teaches us exactly how to do it. We will give you the recipe. It's really not complicated. You do the work, you'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Erin, tell me this, because I think that people struggle with this now. I mean, I had my own time constraints as a single mom during the process. You know, Chad deployed and went all over the country, you know, on short they're called debts, but short little deployments. And so a lot of times everything, and Liz will speak about this, her husband's never home while she's been building this amazing business. So we have our own time constraints, but, you know, I have 3 kids, and Erin has 3, but she's a working mom as well, full time outside of the house. So like, I know that a lot of people are like, we're all spinning all these plates. How did you fit this in?
So for me, I have 3 small kids, 8, 5, and 2. When I started this, I had a 5-month-old. And I do work full time in a pretty stressful, high demand job. And the truth is that when I first started to actually try to work a bit and build a business, I did it with 30 minutes a day. That's it. I gave it 30 minutes a day and an hour on Sundays to plan my week. And that was it. And really, how did I do that? I woke up a half an hour earlier, or I gave up an extra TV show that's really not something I should be watching anyway. So, you talk about fitting it in the mom cracks. That's exactly what I do. And that's exactly how I run it now. And it's growing and it's building, and I have an amazing team of coaches with me, and it's phenomenal. But I still work full time, and I still take care of my 3 kids, and I still honor my time with my husband because he is my top priority, and my children are my second priority. If you ask me my priorities, Beachbody's not one of the top ones. But I know
that's
that
we
can build us to a life of freedom.
Yeah. But that's something this team's very passionate about, you guys, is that you staying balanced, you know what I mean? And honoring your spouse and having that quality time with them and your kids. And so that's something that we teach very specifically in the recipe is how to do that and how to build upon it, so that you do stay balanced, because at the end of the day, you might have this big burning why inside of you, but if by the time you get to achieving that, your why isn't standing next to you, what does it matter? And so that's something we're really, really passionate about is teaching, where it can fit in and helping you figure that out. That's actually day 1 of our Like a Boss success coach training, is to work through our priorities together and to figure out what keeps those priorities thriving, and to really help you hone in on that. So that's a topic I'm incredibly passionate about. I do a lot of mentoring on that topic and how to fit, and work doesn't go first, work comes down here. You know what I'm saying? And making sure it stays that way. But in removing some things maybe that for a season don't belong anymore. And so when I started to build it, I too got up 30 minutes before the kids did so that I could do a power half hour. And during nap time for 15 minutes, I checked in with some groups before I started doing the dishes and starting dinner and doing the laundry. And at night, instead of watching Grey's Anatomy, I would spend time learning and connecting with people and building relationships. And it was a really awesome process, but it's the same process that we teach you. So it's not like, here's this business, good luck, high five. You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. You immediately have a family. You have a recipe and a family that is going to get to know your needs and help you with whatever your vision is, you guys. And that's something I want to talk about. I think that, and I don't want to keep you guys on here much longer because I want to honor your time, but something I think we stop doing is we start settling and we start saying, it is what it is. It wasn't meant to be. And for just a second, I want you to close your eyes and what would your perfect day look like? I mean, if in the next year, what are 3 things, if you could do them or accomplish them, what would just, make you jump up and down? Have you guys ever done that before? What are those 3 things, And right now you might be like, I kind of feel funny closing my eyes with a bunch of strangers or whatnot. But I want you to write that down after we get off. I want you to actually sit there and quiet yourself for a second and let yourself dream. You were made with all the right parts to succeed. And there is a dream that was placed on your heart, special for you. And this, with Beachbody as a coach, this is your vessel to achieve it. And that's what we help you do. My goals, what, you know, Chad and I, what we want to create and what we've been working on. I mean, we've been building houses in Nicaragua for the extreme poor, you know, whereas Kessa, one of our coaches on our team, she can't wait to open a rehab facility. You know what I mean? Like and this is just the vessel, and Erin wants to work with veterans, and you know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's something that was placed on your heart, and this is just our vessel. After you do that exercise where you close your eyes and you ask yourself that, I want you then to ask yourself this: if you did nothing, if you changed nothing, if you, that's awesome. Autism awareness. Absolutely. If you didn't change anything, how long would it take you to achieve that? You know what I mean? Whatever's been placed on your heart, it might be something like taking your family, like maybe you grew up in a family that never went on like vacations and to create those memories. That's something you've always wanted to do, but you've just never been able to do it. I mean, if you're anything like Chad and I, there was just, unless it went on a credit card, there was no vacations happening. You know, if you keep doing what you're doing, will you be able to do what Christy Vincent has done and pay for vacations, you know, without that stress of a credit card? You know, if you do nothing, if you don't change anything when it comes to what you're doing with your health and fitness or your energy or your marriage, if you do nothing a year from now, where will you be? You know, that's something that I had to get real with myself. A lot of times we brush it under the rug and we're like, you know, it is what it is, and this is just kind of the lot I've been given, you know. But when we take it out from under the rug and we take ownership and we say, like, wait a second, like, I can drive my energy bus wherever I want to, and these people are going to help me create that. I don't know about you, but that makes life a little bit more exciting every single morning. And that's something that, I mean, sit down with your spouse and talk about it. That's exciting, you know, if you ask me. So, you know, without going into too much more, you probably want to know, like, how much this costs, you know, and how do you make money and all of that kind of stuff. And of course we want to go over that. And I want to encourage you to, after we, you know, to set up a time to like just fire a bunch of questions at the person that invited you, you know, and let them share with you or find the answers for you, no matter how in depth you want to go into, you know, how do you make money and all that kind of stuff. But I know I wouldn't be sitting here if this opportunity cost a ton, because we didn't have a ton. We actually put the $40 that it cost to sign up on a credit card, because that's how we lived, you know. And it was the best $40 Chad and I have ever spent, not just because of what it's created financially, not because we're completely financially free, not because, you know, we're on pace to build 100 houses in Nicaragua, not because, you know, we've helped my parents, or not because you know, any of that, but this business, the people we've surrounded ourselves, they've helped our heart heal, our marriage is healed, and this is the place that Chad found his faith. And I just don't feel that you can put a price tag on that. But since we are going to put a price tag on it, you know, because we need to honor that seed, so to speak, it is $40, you know, to sign up. You know, there's no reoccurring fee every year or anything like that. It's not like you pay $40 every year. And if you purchase a challenge pack, they honor you by waiving that. Because when you purchase a challenge pack, that's saying, like, I'm ready to do something different. You know, I'm all in, and Beachbody waives your $40 fee, which is absolutely incredible, in my opinion. And if you're a military family, you don't pay anything. You know, they recognize the fact that the military doesn't get paid near enough for what they do, and to loosen the noose around those families' necks, they give them a plan B. You know, build this, you know, so that you can have some of the, you know, so you can go on vacation, so you can do something, so it isn't so stressful while you're serving this country. Every single month there is a $16 fee, and that is because you don't have to collect product. You know what I mean? Like they house all of that in their warehouses. You know, it's not like you're collecting, like Chad always says, like we're not collecting toilet paper and toothpaste. You know what I mean? It's not like our garage isn't filled with that. But the Shakeology, the programs, all of that kind of stuff is taken care of for you. The orders go through your online account, you know, and then you are paid directly from there. No money has to go through you. Should the order get mixed up or a disc is scratched, Beachbody takes care of all of that. And that $16 goes to pay those amazing people that serve us so that we can create a business of honor and service. And so that's what that covers. Other than that, staying an active advocate of the business, you know, is required, you know, to coach and to benefit from it. And so most of us stay active through Shakeology. I mean, we, as a team, as a company, you guys, we really do want people that are an advocate, not that are perfect, but are that like look like every single day I'm trying to be better and I want to help you be better with the products and the tools that we have. And so that is something that is also a part of the expenses. I like to be upfront about that. So did you have anything to add to that, babe?
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay. And we are running over on time, but the things that we didn't cover is how do you make money? And I do want to talk about that really quick because my dad recently joined a business such as this where his cost to get in, we loaned him money, but it was $11,000 to get in. Okay. And that's crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy.
It is crazy. And I've heard stories about people that have to reach monthly minimums and you don't make commission until you have like, you know, $1,000 in sales and all these crazy things. And that's just not the case with this. If you signed up tonight, if you said, you know what, like something in my heart is telling me to just trust the process and to be a sponge, and your mom all of a sudden was like, you know what, I want to get some Shakeology immediately, or a best friend or whatever, you would make commission. There's no monthly minimums. You don't get penalized. There's nothing like that you'll hear with other companies. And so if right now even what's sitting on your heart is I need to work on myself the way that Erin did with me, but you're willing to sign up as the coach, you know what I mean, and learn and be a sponge and surround yourself by people that are dreaming and loving people and growing in the coaching community, that would be your vision for now. And that's where we would serve you. And you have the freedom to continue to grow in that vision. It is not our job to tell you what your vision is. That's the beauty of it. How awesome is that? How many of you guys go to work every day and someone tells you what your vision is, what you have to do? With this business, you get to create your vision. Whatever that is, it may be just to help one person. I remember when Christy Vincent said, Summer, if you just help me help my mom, it will have been a success. I said, well, let's do that. And since then, Christy has developed a team of 200 people. She had 5 different jobs as an occupational therapist, and she has stepped away, and she now only has 1 part-time job as an occupational therapist. And that started with a vision in her heart of helping her mom. So whatever your vision is, that's your vision. And we embrace that. And that's our job to help you achieve it and to give you the recipe and to wrap our arms around you and create a safe place for you to grow in that and for you to be you. You have to understand what is so cool about this coaching community and this business is there's only one you. So no matter how many coaches there are, you have to understand your struggles, your obstacles, whatever you have been through, that is yours. That is your story. And there are people out there that if you'll take down the walls and if you'll put one step in front of the other, if you had the courage just to share it, lives will change and people will attract to you because you're you and you're wonderfully made. And that is the flipping awesome piece of this. There are people that work with me. There are people that work with Erin. There are people that work with the amazing Chris Webb and his wife. There are people that work with Liz Taffel. I mean, the list goes on because we all have different stories and we all have the ability to be the light. And that's what we teach. So you guys, I don't know what's on your heart and I don't know where you're at. But I do know in some form or fashion, because of the heart of this team and where the skills that we have developed and the different stories, I do know that in some form or fashion, whether you want to start just working on yourself, whether you're like whether you're like me, where you just need something positive to focus on so that you have something positive to talk to your spouse about, or you're like, you know what? If you're like Courtney Bell on our team that was like, I want to be home with my kids. And she created that in 18 months. Whatever is on your heart, I know that we can serve you. There isn't a doubt in my mind. We're reaching out our hand, and the only thing you have to do is take ours back and step in. This is one of these moments in your life. It's called a touch point, where you're being tapped on your shoulder and every bit of you is wanting to step back. And those little negative voices are saying like, only the people at the top make money. And this isn't for me, or I don't look right. I know I heard those negative voices at the beginning, but if you step into it and you give us a chance to show you, to love you, and to help you create your vision, I'm telling you what, you won't be able to put a price tag on it. So if you have questions, if you have more questions, don't be afraid to send messages and to get on the phone with your coach and to ask them. But at the end of the day, if you want something different, you have to do something different. And I know from experience that this can be your something different if you let it. You guys, thank you so much for spending almost an hour of your night with us. I don't take that lightly. And we are beyond blessed, whether you decide to come in as a challenger or you decide to come in as a coach. I hope that I get to know you better and your vision better, because I know that our paths don't cross by accident. There's a reason that we're sitting here talking tonight. And I hope I get a chance to get to know you. Erin, thank you so much for sharing your story. You're an absolute inspiration to me. Every single one of the coaches that I see on here right now, you guys, the ones that are speaking on the Power of Positivity event that our team does, you guys are an absolute inspiration to me, and you make me a better me. And all I ask, if you guys don't hear anything else that we have said, all I ask is that you stay hungry to be the best version of yourself. You're wonderfully made with a calling on your life, created for a moment such as this. And you're loved by this team, no matter what. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
See you guys.